Hello, welcome back to Coach's Call here. I've got a really good friend of mine today with me, James Quinn. Quinny, if you don't mind introducing yourself and giving us a little rundown of your situation and what you're doing currently, that would be great.
Yeah, lovely. Cheers for having me, mate. As Dean said, my name's James Quinn, known as Quinny. I'm from Slough, London, which is on the west, on the outside London, West London. So, yeah, I was there in America for 5 years, and unfortunately, I'm back home now.
Okay, so you're about, 30, 40 minutes away from me, where I'm from back home?
Yeah. So Watford, Slough, not too bad.
Your situation is a little bit different because you had to go back home, obviously, because of the virus and everything. So, what were you doing before you went home? Obviously, I know, but for people watching, what were you doing?
So I was Dean's assistant coach at NTCC, and so that was it. I was his primary assistant.
Okay.
And that was not a bad year, not the best year, but as you said about my situation, obviously I'm still trying to find like the GA situation and all that, but unfortunately, it's not going as I would like.
Okay, so you were at, obviously I left Texas and you were still there for a little bit, and then the virus situation kind of happened and you had to come back home. Are you still in contact with a lot of the guys down there?
No, I spoke to a couple. I've spoken to a couple of lads. I've speak to them, see how they're doing, and all that sort of stuff, making sure they're still doing their work and that, trying to get them to graduate. But no, apart from that, I'm kind of, as you say, because of my situation, I'm trying to think of myself now.
Yeah.
I need to kind of, I'm a selfless person, but I'm trying to be like selfish in the sense of like, what's my next goal? What am I going to be doing next year? And that's so, as you say, just trying to find something to go on. So.
All right, perfect. So I think what we'll start on pretty much is we'll go into your story of coming over to the US, how it kind of happened. If you can give us like a little bit of a background of what you were doing in England maybe before you came over and how it kind of worked out for you to come over to the US, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, firstly, the first time I came out was when I was like 21. However, when I was 16 to 18, I was at Torquay United on a YTS, so youth team scholarship. And I've thought I was going to be getting a pro, to be fair. I think there was a couple of people that I thought I was getting a pro. But because of the budget they had and the financial situation, there was like, we can't keep you. We need someone to go straight into the first team. So because of that, I got released. I went to exit trials when I was 18 years old. I did not even think about America whatsoever. That did not even cross my mind going to America to play. I just wanted to try and become a pro in England. That was my main target when I went to the exit trials. I got a few offers from America when I was there, but as I said, did not even think of it. So 2 years went on, 3 years went on, and a friend of mine, he came out to the States and he goes, look, it'd be the best time of your life. It'd be what an experience. He was there a year prior to me. So I got in contact with his agent, and I'm sure it's like everyone. When you come over to the States, a lot of people don't have a clue. I'm sure it was the same with you when you first came over. Don't have a clue what to expect or what the whole system is like. And
yeah,
then, so
to be honest, I didn't even know where I was going when I first came out. I mean, I went to Wyoming, and I thought I couldn't even tell you where it was. I thought maybe Wyoming was in California or something like that. I didn't have a clue.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think we're so like oblivious, and obviously, like the agent I went through, he got me in contact with Rudy, who's a good friend of both ours. He was and I was at Andrew College for 1 year, and we done well. It was a great bunch of lads. I'm still in contact with a couple of them, and then in that situation I was in for that year in Andrew, I invested a lot. I spent 3 years saving. I invested most of my money in that first year, and as I said, I didn't know the system of America, and I asked my agent, I'm not going to name names or anything, but I asked him if he could kind of help me go to another school when he didn't kind of speak to me or whatever. And luckily, Rudy got in contact with yourself and then took me with you to Wayland in your first year there. So that was how my whole experience came. It was a very as I said, I went from thinking I was going to get a pro to not even thinking, didn't even go into America, didn't even cross my mind.
Do you think that's changed a little bit now in the last, like, since we've been in America? Do you think there's more people in England kind of considering that route?
Yeah, without a shadow of doubt. So when I was at Torquay, like I was second year, and we had an agency come in and goes, lads, do you want to come in and all that sort of stuff? We can help you get to America. But I think now going to America is massive, especially with players into that pro clubs. I feel like they really do try and help them get, if they don't make it to a pro, okay, go to the exit trials and all that sort of stuff. And then you can still go to America, study as well as play like good standard of football.
Yeah.
So
I think like when I first come out, it was kind of not unheard of to go to America, but like it wasn't a big thing, if you like. Now it seems like, you know, every club is, you know, linked with a company, or every club is with this foundation program that sends kids to America.
I was speaking. I know I've got a couple of friends at Exeter and Plymouth, and they say they all go through like a certain like company.
Yeah, I think the last like 10 years it's just blown up now.
Yeah, 100%, which is good because it's a great system. It is a great experience to have, especially for like lads coming abroad, like going overseas and that. So I recommend it to anyone.
Yeah,
I would. Yeah.
So after your first year at Andrew, you obviously came over to Wayland. How was your experience at Wayland?
It was Texas, completely different. Like I've been in Texas for 4 years, and obviously I was expecting it to be flat, hot and all, but West Texas is just you dust, flat, there's no scenery or anything like that. So it was a very culture shock. It was a big culture shock in a sense, but it was great experience. I couldn't fault it. All the people you meet, like, are still in contact with most people now. And I know you was on the podcast with like Roscoe the other day talking about it, and he's got exactly the same views as me. Absolutely unbelievable it was.
Okay, so you did what, 3 years there, and what did you graduate with in the end?
Business administration. Yeah.
Bachelor's degree done then?
Yeah, that's it. All done. After that,
you think if you didn't come over to America, you would have got a degree?
No chance. That was my biggest. I always said I would never have went to uni in England. No chance. It was always my thing. If I was in England, I'll probably either get a trade or I'll be trying to play semi-pro or something like that. Like that was it. I would never even thought of getting a degree. So
you would have gone down like the electrician route or something like that?
My dad's a plumber, so maybe. As I said, I've always coaching. Before I came out to the States, I was coaching like Reading development squads and all that sort of stuff. So pushing them, like young lads at 9 years old, I was doing that on Mondays and Wednesday nights and pushing them to the Reading Academy, who I thought was fit for that sort of level. I would like push them. So I always wanted, even at a young age, I always wanted to kind of be down the coach's route in a sense.
Okay.
And that, so obviously you would have to do something, like, not part-time, but you have to do full-time until the coaching would become the full-time. That was my thinking.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things in America is like it's so much more accessible to coach, I guess, than I would have had opportunities back home in England. I think over here, you know, I've been lucky enough to have some good opportunities since I started coaching, but I think back home it's obviously a lot tougher because predominantly it's, you know, ex-professionals that become coaches, and if you really want to make, you know, good money and make it to a high level, it seems like that's the only way right now. You know, if you've played in a top level, you get the opportunities, but if you haven't, it's really tough. So I think for me, coaching wise, that's one of the draws of America. Is, I know they say here's like the land of opportunity or whatever, but in a way it's actually kind of true, because if you do what you're supposed to do and you qualified, and generally if you do well, you're going to move up. So
you get noticed in a sense, don't you? If you do well,
I think you do.
It's just that kind of like over here, it is the fact is, it's like, I guess like anywhere, but you've got to know the people. You've got to have a good name behind you. For me to get into that Reading development like system, I had to know like an ex-pro sort of thing for me to get involved. So it is like, it's exactly that. You've got to know certain people.
So what's the plans for you, obviously, going forward? Then I know, obviously, you're back home right now, and no one kind of knows with everything that's going on what's going to happen. But in an ideal world for you, what's the plans going forward?
Like personally, I want a GA. I want to be coaching all the time. I could come over in England. I could coach 2 times a week, and that. However, my main thing is getting a GA and being able to coach every day for the benefit of myself, earning a master's, and that would be my ideal situation. Every day I'm looking on, seeing if jobs are available, men or women's. And that, like, we done at NTCC, we took the men's and women's, didn't we? So
Yeah.
I feel like I've got which is completely different. They're both completely different. Like taking men's and taking women. I think after that year, I feel like I can kind of do either side. I can kind of have the good face of and the bad face of it. So I think yeah. So my main thing is trying to get a GA somewhere and go from there. I just want to coach and see where I can go next. My main thing is go coach at the highest level possible.
Okay. So for anyone that doesn't know, a GA is obviously a graduate assistant that is basically like an assistant coach, but you also do your masters as well at the same time. I've obviously done that myself at one point, and it's a tough route, to be honest with you, because depending on where you go, obviously master's degrees are no joke. It's a lot of work, and I think the graduate assistant is maybe a little bit underappreciated in a way with everything they have to do with basically being a full-time assistant and then doing school full-time as well. So I'm sure that's a very good step for you, but it'll also be a tough one. But hopefully
Yeah,
it works out where you can find somewhere to do that and
yeah,
get you back over it, because I think you definitely deserve a shot with that. And that's kind of seems like the pathway right now for most coaches, really, especially the international guys, to get into a graduate assistant and then kind of move into full
yeah.
time and take that
That,
kind of off.
yeah, it is. As I said, I've spoken to many people about it who's trying to do the same thing as me, and it is obviously high demand in the sense of there's a lot of people trying to go for limited positions. In a sense, I've emailed probably 400 different coaches maybe, and a lot of them say like we don't take internationals, which is obviously a shame, but it's totally understandable. So
Okay, so you kind of broke in a little bit about that you were coaching before you came out, and obviously that's what you want to do. Is it always been something then that you've kind of been drawn to? I mean, I know you've always been around football and you've been
yeah,
football mad since you were a kid. Have you always kind of thought, if it didn't work out for you playing, that would be something you'd want to do?
yeah, I've always, from the age of, as I said, when I was at Torquay, when I was between 16 and 18, I was at first I was kind of like I wanted to be a physio in a sense because I was always with the physios because like when you're a youth team player, you have to do different jobs, and that so you're set in different jobs, especially if you're in lower academies and that. And my job was being around the physios in a sense, like helping get all the bags ready. And then I was speaking to them about it, and then I started speaking to my assistant coach, and he was a left back. I was a left back at the time, and yeah, he was saying to me, "Look, there's nothing better. I get to wake up, I get to come to work, train with you guys, and that coach you guys. And to me, that was just like, look, it's that old saying: if you enjoy something, you never work a day in your life, and
Yeah,
that's sort of what he was saying. That's what I got out of it. Like I wake up every day. He was like he played for QPR, talking all that sort of stuff, and he goes, I was a milkman before this job. I was a milkman, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and all that sort of stuff. He goes, now I wake up with a smile on my face. He goes, I love coming to work, and just the fact when you have people like that who enjoy something, it rubs off on the players, and that's what kind of
yeah.
after we spoke about that, that's when I realised, okay, I
So you want to do?
yeah, 100%. If you love the game, you love the ins and outs of it, then yeah, why not?
Okay, so you jumped straight in after your senior year with me, kind of similar to what Roscoe did.
Yeah.
Was there anything that kind of shocked you about coaching? Going straight into it. Is there anything you thought, wow, I wasn't kind of expecting this at all?
I wouldn't say shocked in a sense. It was more like the extra work that a player doesn't see.
Hmm.
In a sense, like every day we're in the office, and especially we were taking 2 teams at the time. There was 3 of us taking 2 teams, and one team could be hard enough, but doing 2 teams, it was. And we all had our roles in a sense, but I don't think there was anything that shocked me. It was but it was a lot of hard work, to be fair, especially with 2 teams and that. But it was absolutely great fun. The experience of it, what I learned in that probably say 3, 4, 5 months. Training every day, the coaching every day. If I was over here and that, like, I would not have that experience until, like, for me, like another 3, 4 years in a sense.
Completely, because you're so hands-on from the start over here. Like,
so hands-on. You got to do all the finer details, the tactics, and all that. It was just, for me, that was such a good experience, a good little stepping stone. And for me, don't get me wrong, the first week or so, I was like, okay, obviously Roscoe was there the year before, done very well and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, okay, I've got to kind of step up to the plate. And after that first week, I just felt so confident in that. And it's not the fact is I thought I knew everything. It was just the fact is, okay, like, I'm here, this is where I show, and this is where I have to learn and progress myself. It's not just doing just the plays. It's about, you have to kind of look at yourself and think that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I can even be a testament to that, really. I think, the first couple sessions when you ran the sessions, it was a little bit, it's kind of like a player running a session, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think it took you maybe a week or so to kind of figure out the switch, changing it into like, oh, I'm the coach now, And I think that's massive, especially for assistant coaches, to get that kind of hands-on experience. I've spoken to a lot of assistant coaches throughout the years who say, maybe they don't get that. That might be one reason why some don't go on to, become head coaches and run their own programs, because maybe they're not given responsibility to do stuff. And I think especially a young assistant coach, you need that kind of experience to kind of grow as a coach, because if you never coached the sessions, if you'd have just came in, and done some paperwork, you'd still be where you were at the start, if that makes sense.
100%.
I think having that experience to be able to run your own sessions and coach the team, and I think that's massive for any assistant coach. And I think it's definitely going to help you down the road as you go on.
I totally think, obviously, it's for yourself as well, in a sense, as you've let me come in, and you've not like told me, in a sense, is okay, this and this is what we're doing. You kind of go, look, go take it, and I'll look over you, and I'll kind of tell you where you're going wrong and all that sort of stuff. Like, so it was a good, as you say, great experience. I couldn't ask for anything better. You kind of let me take what I wanted, and then if it wasn't doing too right, we'd go into the office. Okay, next time,
change this up a little.
100%. Like, and that's what you need, because it's such like an intense 3-4 months.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What we were doing in that 3-4 months, we was on, God knows what the heat was like at the very beginning, but we were there for like 5 hours a day in the heat, like, and obviously levels you're going to be draining and all that, but it was, what an experience. I couldn't have wished for anything more, to be fair.
The next question that we get asked quite a lot, that I've been over with a few people, is like the levels, obviously the different levels in America. And one thing that you never did was play in the summer. Is that something that you would kind of say is a regret of yours throughout your time in America, not playing in the summer?
I would, 100%. Obviously, the reason I didn't is just because of financial reasons. I couldn't like stay out here. I had to go back and work, sort of thing. So, but definitely, 100%. Like, my last year, I tried to, and it didn't work out. And like, I played some little 5-side thing, like, for Lubbock, sort of. But that was it. But I do wish I played in the summer, just the experience. I think going out to the States is, you just need to try and experience as much as you can, and that take everything in, take in all the culture, all the different learning experience, all the different coaches, and take it in and kind of widen your horizon.
Okay. So if you knew kind of what you know now,
Yeah.
let's say James Quinn's coming over 2020 as a freshman, what would you tell the young James Quinn, if you like?
Do your work. For me, like in school, I was never brain box or anything like that. I was never. So when coming over here, I had 5 years off school. Coming over here, the first year in my JUCO was like it was a kick in the teeth in a sense.
Yeah.
But I wished, as I say, if you could say to him, I would say to myself, get your head down because academically it can help you out financial wise
Yeah.
so much. Like like when I was at Wayland, I learned so much because I was in admissions. I was working in admissions. I learned so much like there, and I've just thought to myself, if I knew this when I like I would have only invested in that first year, and I would have been able to play summer and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It is one of those, but that's what I would say, and I would recommend anyone to go to the JUCO route. If like I went to it, did you go through it?
Yeah.
Like, and all my friends that have came over here, they've gone through that route, and for me, it's not even like the financial situation. It's more of the fact is you get to learn the playing styles because every team. I think I've only ever seen 2 different teams over here play a 4-2-3-1. Everyone plays a 4-2-3-1 sort of thing. That is
that's the generic.
That is and the first time I came, like every time I go onto a pitch when I was playing, I used to figure out the formation, and kind of go from there. And I remember the first 4 games, and we played as a team, and I was like, everyone plays this same formation. Why doesn't no one change it up in a sense? And it's that sort of thing. You're learning different things. But yeah, it's that's what I would say if I was saying to myself, look, take everything in, especially that first year, get your head down, get the highest grades. I know when you was at NTCC, that was the one thing you kept saying to the boys and girls, get them grades up because it will help you out.
Massive, because like I didn't even know that, to be honest with you. Well, when I came over, like I thought, if I pass my classes, I'm good. That's it. I just want to make sure I can play, kind of thing. And I didn't realize, like you said, the financial kind of implications of it.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in JUCO, I had a lot of different scholarship offers from different schools, and they would tell me, man, if you'd had a 3.5, we could have given you a full scholarship. And I'm like, oh,
yeah, it's like
I didn't do this, I didn't know. I think that's one thing that maybe some JUCO coaches can do a little bit better, is to kind of explain this to kids, because it makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
I remember I had a scholarship offer from a pretty big Division 1 school, and they told me I had to pay $10,000 for the year. And my coach was like, "Oh, that's a really good school. You should look into it." I'm like, "Look, I can't do that." And then basically the coach told me if my GPA was, I think, 0.2 higher, I would have got an extra 8,000, and I would have to pay $2,000 for the year. And I'm like, that's huge. I think that's kind of under by kids.
100%. And I think it's the fact is that I came over, I had no pressure, to be fair. Like my family put no pressure on me. I earned all my money by working in a factory and all that, so it was my money investing in myself. However, I came over to play football, and I think that's what a lot of people just come over. They think, look, I'm coming over to play football. However, there is that academic side that you have to think, and everyone has to be on it, especially if you're a new freshman coming over. That's the one thing I would keep pestering on people about.
Yeah, I think that's massive. I think just making right decisions as well at points, because a lot of guys do come over just to play, but the reality of it is, you have to go to school.
Yeah,
don't go to school, you're not going to be able to play. And I've had a couple of boys myself that great players, but they just don't want to do school, and kind of bites them a little bit, because then they end up not being able to go and play somewhere. And I've had kids that have done that messaged me a couple of years later, like, "Oh man, I wish I'd have just done my school." And I'm like, it's part of life over here. You have to kind of do that. So I think the school side is massive. At the end of the day, if you can get a degree, why not get a degree? It's only
100%.
going to help you out down the end of the road. So it's a great system if you use it well.
Yeah.
I think some people don't, which is sad. But luckily, I think you've been one of the ones that has used it pretty well and has obviously got your degree and had a good year of coaching. And
Yeah.
you can get back into it next year and carry on a little bit.
That's the plan. Fingers crossed.
So what? Let's go back kind of experience-wise now. What would you say has just been your favorite experience of your journey so far?
Oh, favorite experience. It would have to. There's two I would say. But the first one was in my JUCO year, where my junior college year, first year was when I got called up to the British Virgin Islands national team from Rudy. As I said, Rudy again. He sort of had contacts with the BVI, and we had the national team captain in our team at the time as well. And yeah, the head coach, he had a look at a couple of us and said, yeah, come on. So I've had 2 international caps for them. It was such an amazing experience just to go to the British Virgin Islands anyways. And it's the fact that you can say you've played international football in a sense, which it is. Like, it's international football. I'm not playing against like your Rooney's or anything like that, but international football is an unbelievable experience. Unbelievable. My second one is definitely winning national championship.
Yeah.
For me, as I said, I came over. I came over here thinking, just go play football. I didn't really know what anything was, and I'm so clueless. And then for me to obviously win the things that we won is just unbelievable. And that national championship was just a special moment. And yeah, it was like a fairy tale in a sense.
Yeah, it really was. I think if anyone's lucky enough to win a national championship, that's always going to kind of be their best moment, if you like, of the journey, because that's kind of what everyone aims for, I guess, and not everyone's lucky enough to make that come true. I think only certain few people can say they've done that, and some more than others, which is obviously the top honour that you can get in the playing system over here, is to win that. So I think that's definitely a worthy winner there of your best moment.
Yeah.
Not bad. So coaching wise, best moment coaching wise.
Oh, coaching wise, obviously it's got to be something last year. You know what it was? It's not even the best moment. It's more of the moment that I've opened my eyes, and that was the LSUE loss.
Yeah.
And it sounds silly, but that, from the very start, you look back now and you see from the very start like how everyone was, and you think to yourself, okay, I should have done this differently. We should have done this. But what I found very different from coaching to playing is at the very beginning trying to hype people up.
Yeah.
I didn't think that should be like my job as a player. I could do that easy, sort of thing. As a coach, I found that very hard to kind of, because obviously we had the girls and boys. I would go in kind of speak to the guys, and that was the one thing that I struggle with, and I'm sure it will come sooner, like down the road. But if the one moment in coaching that I look back on is at LSUE, and what we could have done differently, if that makes sense. So I would say, as silly as it sounds, that would probably be my best moment, because it makes me, I'm not just looking down. We're not just looking at the wins or anything. We're looking at, okay, we lost, and this is how we've lost, and why, what should we have changed, and all that. And so that would be my sort of, it sounds silly to say best moment, but it's eye opener.
I know what you mean. It's the moment you kind of learn from the most, I guess.
100%.
And I think always you're going to learn more, from the losses and the wins. I think we've been lucky enough that we've kind of got used to winning a lot, and it not become second nature, but you just kind of take it for granted, if you like. And then the losses do hit you a little bit harder because you're not as used to them as maybe some other people. And I think it's massive to learn from them losses. Whereas what's the point,
Exactly, yeah. And if you don't, it's one of those, if you don't lose, if you're constantly winning, then when you lose, you just think, oh, it's a luck. It's a luck. It's one of those. Well, when you lose, if you look back and see what we should have done different, which we should have done a lot of things differently, and we've spoke about it many a times. But yeah, so that would be mine. You got to learn from your mistakes, and as you said, we're both young, so.
Yeah, I mean, before we wrap this up, I think the best way to kind of end it is if you've got any advice, for anyone coming over to the US, anyone currently in the US playing or coaching wise, what would be the advice you'd give to help people out, I guess, in the future?
I would say, obviously, it's a cliche, just enjoy it, especially with the football wise and the academic. If you're a student athlete, just enjoy every moment of it because it does fly by. I know everyone says it does fly by. And for a young coach, I would only say be confident. Be confident in what your philosophy is, what you want to preach out, what you want to coach, and that. I think that's the biggest. For me, don't be intimidated by a head coach sort of thing. Ask them, learn from them, and see what they want. Don't just do what you think they want, in a sense. So communication is key in everything. So that's what I would say. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, top man. I think that's some good advice there. We got through some good material. Hopefully everyone watching likes it and can learn something from it. I know all the boys at NTCC are probably buzzing for this episode, so they've all been asking if we're going to get Quinny on. So,
oh really?
Hopefully they all tune in and watch it as well, and everyone else enjoys it. And hopefully it works out for you next year, and you can get back over and find the GA. If anyone watching is looking for a GA, I couldn't recommend Quinny high enough. If you don't have his contact, just get in touch with me, and we can go from there. And hopefully he gets back over here in August and is able to coach and help another team how he helped me.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. If not, be UAB license next.
There you go. Always a plan B. Always a plan B. All right, man. Appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure we'll chat soon. All right.
Yeah, lovely.
All right.
Bye bye.